Hey, Mr. Jeff, how are you this morning?
I'm great, and yourself?
We had this story last week, and this is a story that is evolving, changing so rapidly, not only day to day, but hour by hour. You made the statement, you testified last week, that crime, and you cited a number of statistics, crime in major cities across the country that are designated sanctuary cities like, New Orleans,
Lafayette,
are danger zones. Tell us about that, what you had to say, and what has changed since you talked about that.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, after the election down in Lafayette Parish and an incoming new sheriff, Sheriff Mark Garber, and I visited, he changed his policy. So Lafayette is no longer considered a sanctuary parish. He actually reversed the policy of the previous sheriff and made that change. So that was a victory for us. Number two, about 72 hours before I was slated to testify in front of the U.S. House, the Department of Justice and the City of New Orleans Police Department capitulated on a policy that they currently had and recognized what we had been saying all along, is that the policy that they had in place was violating federal law and could jeopardize their Department of Justice funding. And so they changed it. So today, the New Orleans Police Department's policy now allows its officers to collaborate or communicate with ICE officials, with immigration and customs officials, in regards to potential illegal aliens who they have in their custody. So that has changed.
Okay, so literally 7 days ago, a week ago, New Orleans, Orleans Parish, and Lafayette Parish were considered sanctuary parishes and or a sanctuary city.
Right.
On the 1 to 10 scale of sanctuary cities, with something like San Francisco being a 10, what is New Orleans right now?
New Orleans is now a 5. New Orleans was a 10, and they're now a 5.
Does the same go for Lafayette?
No, Lafayette is a 0.
Okay.
So what changes, if you could push the button, as I like to say, if the little white button were sitting on Jeff Landry's desk, and you could push the little white button, what would New Orleans change, in your opinion, to make it better, to clean it up?
Well, what New Orleans should do is they should release their law enforcement officers to basically be free to basically ask the same questions that they ask American citizens in their custody, and that would be, if you don't have a driver's license, if we can't find any driver's license information on you, if we can't find out where you've come from, then the next question is, are you actually in this country legally? And that's the question that currently police officers in New Orleans are unable to ask people in their custody. However, so if they pull Erin over for speeding or some other infraction, and they ask her for a driver's license, she doesn't have it on them. They ask her for a name, a date of birth. They go back to the database. They can see that she has a driver's license, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you have a driver's license, you can then assume that you're in this country legally, because in Louisiana you can't get a driver's license unless you have a birth certificate that is from this country, which says that you are a U.S. citizen.
You and I have talked about this before. What is, and I'm going to make an assumption here, so correct me if you think I'm incorrect, but I don't think you will. If all this at some level is being manipulated by the Obama administration, what is the Obama administration's endgame of having open borders and standing in the way of law enforcement?
Well, certainly what they want to do is just bring as many people as they can to put on the voter rolls and give them tons of programs and tons of money so that they feel that those people feel indebted to them and they vote Democrat on the ticket. That's my belief. Of course, that's my own belief. I can't see any other reason why they would have this complete open border policy, because it creates a public safety crisis. In fact, there's a New York Times piece today. Today, there's a New York Times piece that you can find on the internet that talks about the lawlessness that's going on in Long Island by these gangs of illegal immigration, of illegal aliens that are plaguing Long Island and committing atrocious murders of youth in Long Island. I mean, you find it, and that's exactly where we're going by having open border policy.